Welcome to episode 47 of the Fire Safety Matters podcast, where we bring you the latest news, views and opinion from across the UK's dedicated fire industry. My name's Brian Sims and I'm the editor of Fire Safety Matters magazine. We're delighted that this podcast is sponsored by the Fire Safety event, which runs at the NEC in Birmingham from the 28th to the 30th of April 2026. Fire Safety Matters is once again serving as the lead media partner for the exhibition. To register for the show, visit www.firesafetyevent.com. As always, I'm joined on the Fire Safety Matters podcast by my colleague Mark Sennett, the CEO at Western Business Media and also the founder of Fire Safety Matters magazine. Good morning, Mark. How are things with you?
Yeah, apart from a head cold, I'm fine, Brian. Back for the first podcast of 2026. Christmas feels a while ago. I was in Intersec in Dubai last week as we record this since then. So it honestly feels like Christmas was ages ago. Did you have a good Christmas break yourself?
I did, thanks very much, Mark. Yes, and I'm currently working on the March print edition of the magazine and also preparing for FSM Live London at Kempton Park, where we'll be running another first-class conference programme. So a great start to the new year for us, and well done again on a great conference programme. It's really, really good.
I was going to say, no pressure on me describing it as first class. It better deliver then, but I promise everyone that listens we will do our best to put on a great event on the 3rd of March at Kempton Park. We will talk about that a bit later in the podcast. But as we always say on this podcast, you don't have to wait for this monthly podcast to get all the latest news, prosecutions, products and services and industry news from the UK fire sector. You can go to our website, fsmatters.com. If you can't remember that, don't worry, just throw into a search engine Fire Safety Matters and up we come. You can go to the website, you can see all of our upcoming webinars, sign up to them for free. You can go on to ignitecpd.com and watch all of our webinars, over 350 of them on demand. We put 150 of them new each year on there. Back on the main website, you can obviously sign up to get our weekly e-newsletter for free, which goes out every Tuesday. Over 50,000 of your colleagues get that every Tuesday. You can look at our back editions of the magazine in digital format, or you can sign up to get free copies in print or digital of Fire Safety Matters. So honestly, our website is the place to go unless you follow us on social media, X or LinkedIn. Just throw into a search engine, Fire Safety Matters, and up we come. But we do always start this podcast with the news, and I think it's my turn to start this time, Brian. So looking at the news that's come out in the new year, first one I picked out was, and it's on our website now, and it's titled Building Safety Regulator reports record year-end Gate 2 determinations. So yeah, you can see that in the news sections, or just throw in Gateway 2 into the search box on our website and this will come up. So the Building Safety Regulator's latest Gateway 2 update shows a continuing positive impact from the new processes in place, record year-end determinations and an increasing number of high-rise residential building control applications from the industry. Gateway 2 determinations continue to rise, with 347 across all application types in the 12 weeks up until the 22nd of December. That totals 727 since the 29th of September 2025. The final quarter of 2025 will see the highest number of decisions since the Building Safety Regulator commenced operations, with a likely total of more than 700 by 31st of December, compared to over 200 in Q1. That represents a potential 250% plus increase. The number of live applications of all categories now shows a downward trend, reducing from 1,219 to 1,158 over the past 12 weeks. So 69% of all decisions across all categories during December related to London cases, making it 503 decisions since the 29th of September in the capital, the highest number of determinations in London since the Building Safety Regulator began operations, actually, Brian. So recently, the Building Safety Regulator also published guidance on stage applications and the criteria for validating, approving or rejecting these applications. And you can see that, Brian, anyone listening, it's a link within this article, so do go and check it out. So these updates are part of the improvements being made to ensure applications can be processed with more efficiency and to support industry in submitting high-quality building control applications. So the innovation unit itself, a dedicated team of registered building inspectors, technical engineers and regulatory reads, has 3 approvals to date within 12 weeks, with another 4 approvals expected by the 31st of December last year. So for cases which are over 12 weeks but are likely to be approved, if further information is supplied, the Building Safety Regulator is adopting a pragmatic approach. It says account managers have been assigned to liaise closely with the applicants to give the cases the best opportunity to progress. So the Innovation Unit is actually currently managing 102 live building applications, which represents 24,624 units. So times to validate and reject any incomplete applications are also much quicker than under the previous model, which enables applicants to quickly address issues and resubmit. So there's quite a bit to go through here, Brian, but I just thought it was some interesting statistics. It's certainly a really busy time for the Building Safety Regulator as it continues to go under a period of change. So I think you've got a bit more to add to this, don't you?
I do indeed, Mark. 54 complex historic applications submitted under the previous model have been closed since the end of last September, with 30 of these recent decisions relating to London cases. The Building Safety Regulator's operational team's direct engagement with applicants and regulatory partners, along with addressing individual blockers, is resulting in these historic complex cases being closed now. Remaining legacy applications are the Building Safety Regulator's key focus. Face-to-face meetings are continuing this month with regulatory partners and applicants. This is part of a pragmatic approach towards dealing with complex or contested applications rather than these cases being rejected without any intervention. The Building Safety Regulator is also continuing to implement its batching process, Mark. This new pilot process scales capacity by bundling applications to specialised engineering services suppliers for accelerated assessment, with the regulatory lead officer providing oversight and remaining in the decision maker. Open remediation cases have held steady, with 82 decisions made since last September and 83 new cases received. 280 live cases are now being processed. Charlie Pokely, the CEO of the Building Safety Regulator, has commented, "The immediate and positive results we saw from our pilot operational changes are now firmly established across the Building Safety Regulator and show a clear path to continued success. We've made the most determinations in our operating history and cleared noteworthy numbers of our complex historic cases by engaging with applicants, as well as publishing guidance on staged applications and continuing to build upon the work of our Innovation Unit." Pokely concluded, "Across the Building Safety Regulator and, we believe, within the industry, there's now a confidence that we can continue to make more decisions at an increasing pace through our new processes and by engaging appropriately with applicants. Rightly, we continue to remain cautiously optimistic as we know the pace of improvements must continue." But it's great to see this excellent progression at the regulator, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there definitely is progression there. Now, Brian, it's over to you for your top news story that you've picked for this episode of the podcast. What have you got for us?
Well, the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, Mark, has published the authoritative statement of the Fire Engineers Advisory Panel, in addition to a policy paper focused on the next steps for reform of the fire engineering profession. The authoritative statement of the Fire Engineers Advisory Panel, itself established in April last year to provide advice to government on the fire engineering profession itself, is a direct response to the inquiry's call for such a statement on the knowledge and skills to be expected of a competent fire engineer as part of the overarching recommendation that fire engineering should become a regulated profession. Aside from this primary aim, the Fire Engineers Advisory Panel was also asked to look at the wider context of the fire engineering profession, including education, the role and its responsibilities, behaviours, experience and also skills. Professional practice is similarly fragmented. Fire engineering principles and the role of a fire engineer are often poorly understood or undervalued within multidisciplinary teams, leading to the marginalisation of fire engineering input. Ethical standards and expectations of professional conduct are inconsistently defined and monitored, while the variety of education and competence means that engineering principles and guidance are sometimes not applied effectively to real-life scenarios. As a result, confidence in the profession can be poor and capacity remains too low. This will not meet current or future needs, places vulnerable individuals and the wider public at risk, and undermines people's rights to safe housing. The Fire Engineers Advisory Panel supports the government's intention to regulate both the title and function of fire engineers. While further detail will be shaped through consultation, these elements should underpin the development of statutory regulation. So in principle, a new protected title for fire engineers will be introduced, with legal restrictions on its use. Again, in principle, statutory regulation will define the functions and activities that can only be performed by an individual who is registered and has met specific requirements. Fire engineers will also hold formal responsibility for the development and stewardship of the fire safety strategy, with clear duties defined in regulation. A competent fire engineer, Mark, needs strong technical knowledge and the ability to work across disciplines. This includes an understanding of core architectural engineering principles, fire dynamics, prevention, human behaviour, building structures, systems and operations, and also firefighting needs, alongside good analytical and communication skills. So what's your take on this important news, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't care if they're getting different job titles in there, but the pick that I pick out of what you just said there, is that there should be an expectation from anybody that the building that they're in, especially the one that they live in, is safe. Fire engineering work does and should be expected to be carried out by competent people. That should be. It's much like gas safe. You have to be gas safe registered, right? There should be an expectation that competent people are doing this. Now, as we'll go on to say, and I've got something else to add from the article that you've written, that might mean, they're going to have to be university educating degrees around this. But I do completely agree there needs to be a proper standard for competency. You need to expect that people doing the work are competent. So, I've got more to add to this, Brian, from the excellent article that you wrote. So the Fire Engineering Advisory Panel recognises that university education should remain the main route into the profession, and that's literally what I was just saying. However, well-designed alternatives such as accredited apprenticeships may be appropriate when they deliver outcomes equivalent to a fire engineering degree. And, we've long time said on this podcast that we want to see a move to get more apprentices into the sector. Now, I particularly support that if you can have proper accreditation to show people are competent doing this work, they're properly trained. So there must also be a clear pathway for existing fire engineers to demonstrate competence and for qualified professionals from other disciplines to transition into the regulated fire engineering profession. Don't disagree with that at all either. So the IFE has commented on this, and the IFE has said, having actively contributed to the development of the policy paper, the IFE welcomes the important publication which provides much needed clarity. This statement goes on to say, Brian, as the global body for fire engineers, the IFE recognises the significance of this statement in shaping best practice and supporting the safety of communities. We will now consider the document and review its content in light of our responsibilities as a professional engineering institution. Our commitment remains to uphold the highest standards of competence and ethics within the fire engineering profession, thereby ensuring that guidance policy continue to reflect the needs of society and the built environment. So yeah, I think that was a good choice for you to cover. People can read it in more depth on our website. Simply go to the news pages or just in the search box on our website, type Authoritative Statement. So, Brian, there's going to be a competency theme on this podcast, this episode with the news stories that we've covered. And you mentioned at the start about FSM Live London, which takes place on the 3rd of March 2026. It is coming up fast. It's at Kempton Park Racecourse. There's free parking there. It's just off of the M3. It's outside of ULEZ, so it's really convenient for anyone to get to. There's a train station attached to it as well. Free parking on site. Free tea and coffee all day as well for those of you that need caffeine. And I'm feeling very much this morning with my head cold that I need some caffeine. But it's the first time we've done one in the south of England, in London, and there is no other major conference like this around that area, and registrations have been flying. I really urge people that are listening to this, if you want to come for a full day of CPD, that you need to sign up now before places fill up. We've got over 50 exhibitors there with the latest products, services and guidance as well. But some of the agenda items on there, we've got Russ Timpson talking about fire strategy, AI, BIM and a golden thread. We've got Chris Tilley from the FIA talking about the competency minefield and how do I comply. We've got some end users speaking, so people listening could really relate to that, such as Dan Turner, who's a senior fire safety person at Balfour Beatty, talking about construction phase fire safety management, adherence and the challenges. We've also got my favourite part of these conferences, an interactive fire safety mock trial being delivered by Waitman's. It's based on a real-life prosecution. It will be reenacted, and then you, the audience, will be the jury saying guilty and not guilty. And honestly, the best part of that, as I will say on this, is actually once you see that vote, they then say what the real-life verdict was, and they explain whether you were right or wrong and why you were right or wrong. And it's something you can really take back into your workplace. We've also got Matt Humby talking about mitigating lithium-ion battery risks, which is really topical right now. We've got fire detection for complex sites in there. Making Gateway 3 work is going to be a key session from Cleith Plowman, and that's all about from regulation to reality. So there's 11 sessions in there. It's also co-located with the Institute of Fire Safety Managers conference there. It's going to be over 500 of you there, and it is filling up fast. I'm not just saying that. So please, if you can make it on the 3rd of March to Kempton Park in London, you need to sign up now for free at fsmlive.co.uk. Got over 50 exhibitors with latest products on there. Everyone from Apollo Fire Detectors, ACO, Advanced, Secos, Bolster Systems, C-Tech, Bull Products, Core Systems Technology, distributors like DVS, we've got Cygnus Group, we've got EMS, Everlux, FIKE, the Fire Protection Association, the Fire Industry Association, FirePro, FireQual, BAFE, Gerda, Kentech, Protec, Hi-Fire, Risk-Based, another distributor, SafeLink, Safety Technology International. You've got people like SSAIB there as well, Vimpex, Vox Cygnus, evacuation companies like 3T and Safety Chair, and we've got training companies like Exact, and we've also got Vent Trade and Siemens, and passive companies like Injectorclad. Suppression is covered as well by things like Jacktone. So there is so much here, and that's nowhere near all 50 there. We've got Consort Insurance as well, Eaton, all the who's who of all latest product, services and guidance associations are there. So please do go to fsmlive.co.uk now and sign up for free. Brian will be hosting the conference. I'll be there, keen to get your feedback as an audience on this podcast and everything from the event. And you will get a CPD certificate for attending. So fsmlive.co.uk. Book up now, please, before I have to close it up before we're over capacity. So, Brian, at this point, we're going to introduce our first of two guests on this episode of the podcast. So, who have you got for us?
Our first guests on episode 47 are Richard Heaton and Mike Lythgoe from the Protec Fire and Security Group. Richard studied engineering at the University of Liverpool and joined Protec in 1999 in the role of contracts manager. He became an associate director of the business in 2019 before moving into the role of projects director. Richard was appointed CEO at Protec in January last year. His colleague Mike Lythgoe is sales director of the business. During the interview, Richard and Mike cover various topics, among them the immediate roadmap for the fire industry and also the impact of the Internet of Things. Thank you for joining us on the podcast, Mike. Could you give us a broad overview of how Protec operates and also outline the services offered by the business for its client base?
Yeah, of course. Hello, Brian. So the business was founded in 1968 by Barry Russell. Today, we have our own in-house R&D, design and manufacturing facility of fire detection and alarm products that we produce here in the UK. We now provide clients an all-in-one solution to their fire safety needs. So that's from the initial design consultation stage right through to reactive service and maintenance packages. And that is broad brush across fire detection and alarm, life safety systems such as evacuation systems, voice evacuation systems, emergency voice communication systems. We cover fire suppression, water misting, sprinklers, gas suppression. We cover security. So it's mainly there, CCTV, access control tied into high-end integration of building automation. And we also, lastly but not least, do gas detection.
The Protec name has been present in the industry for over 55 years now, and the company has produced many products in that time period. What are the ones that stand out for you, and what's on the product horizon at the moment?
Yeah, so I mean, for me in particular, it was the introduction of the A95 analog addressable fire alarm control panel back in the 90s. I mean, I started with Protec in 1995, so it was pretty much the product that I got to know really well. Probably the market leader of that technology at that time. And with that, we've been able to transition and develop that product into a digital offering, which was the 6400. another great fire alarm control panel, which set the business up, enabled us to do more and more complex systems. And today we've engineered a lot of those features into our current range, which is the 6500 digital addressable fire alarm control system, utilizing our 6,000 plus digital addressable devices. So that, coupled with aspirating smoke detection, which is something that we've developed over many years. And we also have a very unique product in our cloud chamber technology. So those are the kind of things that really stand out for me within the business. But it's not just that, it's the people in the business as well that have really made Protec what it is today. I suppose the next thing is our digitalization offering.
In terms of the fire industry, what's next in your view, Mike? Do you see any dramatic changes ahead?
Putting aside just fire detection, I think from a fire safety perspective, following the Grenfell Tower fire, it's got to really be the whole industry driving towards competencies and compliance. That's what we see. We've seen the Building Safety Act being introduced into construction. That's now requiring people to demonstrate their competencies. Protec's upskilled all its staff over the last 2 years. We've got a training program linked with the FIA, where we're training people to level 3 qualifications to demonstrate them competencies. So we feel that really now is something that the industry needs to get behind and genuinely push on to ensure that safety is at the forefront of what we actually deliver. And then tied into that will be digitalization. I mean, those remote connectivity services, that'll be the future of the industry.
Welcome to the podcast, Richard. What does your journey with Protec look like to date?
Well, hi, Brian. So my journey with Protec, I think you could say, has pretty much gone completely end to end. So I started with Protec back in 1999, straight out of university, following an engineering degree. I started as a design estimator, very quickly moved into project design. At the time, we had some big European projects, which were exciting. And for a young 20-some-year-old, that was quite exciting, traveling around Europe. Then moved into project engineering, project management, did a couple of years as a general manager managing our Scottish region before coming back to Yorkshire, which is where I'm from, as the contracts manager for the Yorkshire, North East and Scotland region. That then moving into one of our key sectors now, but it was an emerging sector then in custodial and then more recently specials projects. That took me to the position of associate director within the business. And then in 2023, I joined the board as projects director before taking up the reins as CEO. And it feels like I've had the full experience, Brian.
How important is in-house product development and manufacturing to Protec's ongoing success? And how does it shape the quality and innovation of the company's solutions for its customers?
Well, first of all, I think our product is one of the cornerstones of our business, and that's supported absolutely by our in-house manufacturing. The fact that we manufacture on site means that all our other departments, all our staff, when they come to work, see and feel the products on a regular basis. You can't avoid it, so it becomes part of the fabric of the business is our manufacturing. I think it's critical that we are a UK manufacturer. I believe that UK manufacturing tagline still carries a huge value both within the UK and overseas. And having that facility on site at our production facility at Nelson, our head office in Nelson, does allow us to be dynamic and move pretty quickly, because all our product stakeholders are there, be it our in-house research and development team, our sales team, our installation team, our technical team. All those stakeholders are there, so they not only live and breathe the product, but if there's decisions to be made, they can be made quickly and dynamically. And from a client point of view, customer point of view, we absolutely love bringing clients to actually see what we do, how the devices and panels are made, and take them on that journey with them. And we feel that then gives them an intrinsic feel for the business.
The Internet of Things is fast becoming a core topic in the fire industry at present. What's in the pipeline for Protec in relation to the IoT and also the digital arena in general?
Well, you're right. Digitalization does seem to be the buzzword right now in the industry. It's definitely what we see as the future, not just on a product level, where it absolutely will shape the future, particularly in the service and maintenance field, but also in back of house efficiencies, the use of AI, etc., which we're looking to leverage at the moment. In terms of digital offerings, we currently offer a digital remote connectivity now, but as Mike said, we will be enhancing that in the coming months with new products coming to market. We have quite a detailed product release roadmap, which is moving hand in hand with our digitalization roadmap, and we expect, as I said, to be launching our digital offerings, and then over the next 2 to 3 years enhancing that product. I don't want to give too much away now, Brian, but I would suggest keep glued to our socials, and all the updates will be on there.
Well, continuing with the news now, Mark, and the Building Research Establishment, the Multidisciplinary Building Science Centre, has announced the creation of the PV Fire Intelligence Network, itself a steering group of leading organisations brought together to analyse the fire safety of solar photovoltaic, i.e. PV systems. A group of solar PV and component manufacturers, fire experts and solar safety solution providers underpins the network, which is chaired by the BRE. The Fire Industry Association, the MCS Company, the CGM Group UK, Enphase Energy, IMO Precision Controls, PV Stop, Solar Ray Technologies, ArcBox, which is a division of Viridian Solar, and Solar Energy UK, are all contributing towards the project, Mark. At present, there's a lack of evidence-based information on how often fires involve solar panel systems, which parts of the system may be responsible for fire episodes, or how these fires typically progress. The research will make use of reliable data sources and study them to identify the causes and frequency of solar PV fires. Any lack of data has implications for customer reassurance on the safety of these systems and designing safer installations. PV Fire Intelligence Network contributors will work to identify the causes and consequences of solar PV-related fires and propose a selection of recommendations and solutions designed to reduce the risk in times ahead. In particular, Mark, there will be a keen focus on 3 main areas to inform the PV Fire Intelligence Network's recommendations. They concentrate on as follows: collecting reliable data on PV systems fire incidents across residential, commercial, industrial and utility installations here in the UK, engaging stakeholders including fire and rescue services, manufacturers, installers and researchers in order to address current knowledge gaps, and also studying trends in order to identify causes and patterns of solar PV fires here in the UK. So what do you have to add to this news, Mark?
Well, it'll be interesting to find out what the research does into this. You know, solar panels are a growing thing across the UK. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the research says about what the potential fire risks are. Because when you get a new kind of technology or something that's more included in the built environment, etc., it's something that, you know, we definitely need to do research on. I'd say the same thing about, mitigating risk of lithium-ion batteries, which, of course, is a really hot topic at the moment. But there is something more to add from this article, and you can read it on our website. And as I always say, just go into a search engine, Fire Safety Matters, and click on the news section. If you want the direct domain name, obviously it's fsmatters.com, and you just throw into the search box on this one, Brian. It's titled, just throw in BRE Industry Network or solar PV systems, it'll come up. But just adding a bit more to it, so solar PV is a critical element of the UK's green transition, which is what I was just hinting at. As such, there's an increasing need for up-to-date and reliable data of the fire risks posed by these systems in order to promote their take-up amongst homeowners, businesses and the public sector alike. And that's exactly what I was getting at there, is you want to make sure that there isn't any additional fire risk by installing these, so people can install them safe in the knowledge that they don't pose a risk. So the group will deliver the project within 12 months. All the associated data will be summarised into a publicly available research paper detailing the findings and the result of the recommendations. So just adding a bit more to this, Raman Chagga, who's a principal consultant at BRE, specialising in fire safety, actually Raman spoke for me at events in the past and written articles, he says, making solar PV systems safer is essential if we are to encourage the adaptation and ultimately make the successful transition to clean energy. We don't know the extent to which fires occur within solar PV systems and how this could have a potential knock-on effect in the UK solar deployment. Supported by the collective expertise and data-led approach of this group, we will identify the potential solutions to this challenge. These could include updates to public and industry guidance, product improvements, or revised standards and the code of practice alongside areas for further research in the future. So this is something that I am sure we will keep an eye on. I'm very much looking forward to, well, it won't be exactly 12 months' time, will it? But sometime in the next 18 months, hopefully, the findings of the research paper that we've published on this. And I'm pretty much guaranteeing we will cover that on a future episode of the podcast. So yeah, keeping my eyes peeled for that one. And I think it, has some interesting findings, Brian. So moving on back to me, I guess it's my turn now to my second news story that I've picked. And I'll talk about my old employers, the Fire Protection Association. So the FPA is partnered with FireQual on fire risk assessment qualifications. So obviously competency is a theme of this episode of the podcast, it seems, like it often is, Brian. And you can see this on our website. Just type in FPA and FireQual in the news box, and it will pop up. So the Fire Protection Association has partnered with FireQual to deliver a new suite of fire risk assessment qualifications fully aligned with BS 8674 2025, the recently published British standard that sets out the framework for the assessment of fire risk assessed competency. As of this month, the FPA offers the following full suite of FireQual accredited qualifications designed to meet the competency levels set out in BS 8674 2025. So, three levels here. Level 3, certificate in foundation and fire risk assessment. Level 4, certificate in intermediate fire risk assessment. And level 5, certificate in advanced fire risk assessment. So there are course dates available now for level 3 and level 4, and course dates are coming soon for level 5. So these new qualifications introduce an enhanced focus on the core competencies detailed within the British Standard. The FPA's training will equip learners with the means to interpret fire safety plans and fire risk assessment action plans. It will also enable assessment to be made that ensures additional specialist advice can be sought when necessary. So, for example, when it becomes to securing the right technical knowledge necessary to assess external walls by adopting the guidance contained within PAS 9980. So finally, the new qualification will enable learners to evaluate the suitability of fire safety features within buildings, subsequently ensuring that the awareness of the latest best practice techniques and required technical expertise to deliver fire risk assessments. As a specialist awarding organisation, the fire sector, FireQual provides nationally recognised Ofqual regulated and SQ regulated qualifications, and that sets the knowledge and skills benchmark for specialist fire and life safety disciplines. So developed in collaboration with industry experts, these new qualifications reflect the current industry needs and support fire risk assessors in demonstrating the competencies required at foundation, intermediate and advanced levels. So as I said, Level 3 and Level 4 of these course dates are now available. If you go on to this news article, we've got direct links to those so you can see when those course dates are, and Level 5 is coming soon. So it's great to see FPA and FireQual working hand in hand in this. FireQual continues to grow. It's not a massively old awarding organisation here. It's been up for a couple of years now. It continues to grow, work with key industry partners like the FPA and FIA. So yeah, and I there's nothing but good news here in seeing these level 3, 4 and 5 certificates up there for availability to book the courses. So Brian, what else have you got to add to this?
Well, commenting on the launch of the new qualifications, Mark, Lewis Ramsey, the Group Chief Operating Officer of Baith Holdings, the owner of FireQual, has said, FireQual is at the front end of leading the charge for high-quality, regulated and competency-based qualifications in the fire safety sector that evidence skills and knowledge. These fire risk assessment qualifications are aligned to BS 8674 2025 and Baith's SP205 scheme evidence requirements. We're proud to be working with the Fire Protection Association as one of our approved training centres to award these qualifications, which offer a progressive pathway for fire risk assessors, and we believe set a new benchmark for professional competence across the sector. With the government in England having confirmed that mandatory competence requirements for fire risk assessors will be introduced and independently verified by UCAS accredited certification bodies, the FPA's new suite of qualifications will provide those assessors with a clear route to third-party certification through alignment with existing UCAS accredited schemes. Luke Ventura, the Deputy Head of Training at the FPA, has responded, "We're delighted to announce our suite of new FireQual accredited fire risk assessment qualifications. By aligning with BS 8674 2025, we're equipping fire risk assessors with the latest best practice advice and technical expertise, enabling them to further demonstrate competency to duty holders and responsible persons alike." Ventura went on to state, "We're now in the process of creating a bridging course for existing learners, helping them to close knowledge gaps, gain the equivalent FireQual qualification, and also progress the higher-level qualifications offered by the FPA. Learners can complete the qualifications at the FPA's new Training and Education Centre in Oxfordshire, online or on-site at client premises." So as you mentioned, Mark, that's a really positive and timely piece of news for the sector.
Yeah, I mean, the FPA offers a great suite of training courses. You should definitely go to their website and see all the training courses that they're offering. You'll find out more information about these as well. Yeah, they moved into a brand spanking new facility very close to me where I live in Banbury. I mean, they try and claim it's Banbury, but actually it's a bit further out than that. I was joking to Gavin, their MD, about that. Yeah, I'm going to loosely call it Banbury. But yeah, it looks a really impressive new facility. I'm looking forward to going to see it in the near future. It'll be very different for me, bearing in mind I was there for 3 or 4 years in Morton and Marsh at the Fire Service College when I worked there, and they were there for years and years and years. So, that organisation continues to grow. It does offer excellent training opportunities. So I would urge anyone to take a look at what the FPA has on offer, including their membership schemes as well. And, they've actually won awards to do with projects they've done there in training through the Fire and Security Matters Awards in the past. And that's where I'm leading a nice tenuous link, Brian, into the last thing I want to cover in the New Sectors podcast is just to remind people that the Fire and Security Matters Awards, we are rapidly approaching the deadline to enter, and it is completely free to enter. It's the 6th of March 2026, just before midnight, so like 11:55 in the evening is the closing deadline. We really want to see as many of you listening enter as possible. There are obviously fire and security categories. I'm only going to focus now on just remind you of the fire ones. Brian can do the security plugs on his sister podcast, the Security Matters podcast. But, there's categories for everybody here. It's a perfect way to get you, your team member, a colleague, your organisation, a product or a project recognised. It only takes minutes to enter. And if you do get shortlisted, it really is something to be proud of, and you'll see it, and I see it all the time. Probably the best part of my job is seeing how happy people are when they are shortlisted, how much it means to them. So if you're thinking, I don't know if I'm going to enter, you can enter yourself, but you could also enter colleagues or a team or your organisation, and I can promise you, if you do enter other people in here, if you do get shortlisted, that they will feel great about this. There's nothing better than recognition for the hard work you do by your peers, and the job that you guys do in keeping people and property safe deserves recognition. So the categories here, we've got Fire Innovation of the Year, that's a product-based category, Fire Safety Training Company of the Year, Fire Safety Manufacturer of the Year, and now for many of you listening, this will perhaps be even more relevant, Fire Safety Installation Company of the Year, Fire Safety Project of the Year, Fire Safety Manager of the Year, Fire Safety Team of the Year, Fire Industry Woman of the Year, Fire Safety Consultancy of the Year. We've also got ESG Company of the Year, Distributor of the Year, Customer Service Award, the Unsung Hero Award, the Rising Star Award, and the Commercial Person of the Year. Please do take time to enter this before the 6th of March. You can do so at firesecurityawards.com or just throw into a search engine Fire and Security Matters Awards. You can write these entries as you go. You can save them as you go. You don't have to complete them all in one go. And ultimately, it all culminates on the 2nd of July at the huge FSM Awards that we do in Coventry, which follows our FSM Live conference in Coventry. Last year was the biggest awards we ever did. Over 800 people there. We had Todgems, fire breathers, fairground stalls, Omadija Lily, the comedian, is the host, stilt walkers, band, dance floor, fun money casino tables. So what I'm telling you all that for is it's a fun night. It's a great night to go out and celebrate with your team, but all of your industry peers are there. It is the industry's biggest night of networking, but it has a real meaning. It is there to celebrate you guys, the great and good of the sector, celebrate the important work you do at keeping people and property safe. So it has a fantastic and important meaning, but it's a who's who of the industry there. It was quite funny seeing various different heads of associations and major manufacturers and, very senior people, fire safety managers, or Dodgems at midnight celebrating. That was great to see, actually. And we've got Catherine Ryan, the well-known comedian, as a host this year. So unbelievably fun night. The sector's best night of networking, but it has an important cause of celebrating what you do. There is no better way to go out with your team and meet people in a sector than that particular night. So please do enter. Go to firesecurityawards.com or throw out a search engine Fire and Security Matters Awards. It's always a late night, Brian, but a good one, right?
Always a great night, Mike. Yes, I've done many of these awards events over the years. They're always great to go to. And like you say, for us as journalists, it's great to be in front of our audience and for us to be able to engage with people, I think, during the conference, obviously during the day, and also in the awards in the evening. And as you say, it's great to win an industry award. And the people that are shortlisted for these categories is equally a good achievement, I think. To get it shortlisted in these awards is no mean achievement because there's so many entries every year.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not hypocrites here. I enter FSM and all of our other publications here at Western Business Media into industry awards too. FSM has won a couple of awards. I'm very proud of that. And, back in November, some of our other FSM was shortlisted 3 times. Unfortunately, didn't quite take home any gold this year, but some of our other publications did. Health and Safety Matters did. Andy Clutton, the editor of Professional Security Installer, won Editor of the Year, and it meant the world to the team. We were honoured to be up for Independent Publishing Company of the Year, and very honoured. Brian, I, and Leanne were to see us up for multiple awards for FSM. So I'm not trying to ask you to do something that I don't feel strongly about myself. I enter our teams into this and I see how much it means to people. There is somewhere around the internet an absolutely brilliant picture of Brian looking shocked at a table or me fist pumping when FSM won Magazine of the Year. That is out there somewhere. It is a quality photo, and it just showed how much it meant.
I have the video. I have the video content of that myself, Mark. Actually,
I'm sure you do, and it was great because we feel proud of FSM, and you should feel proud about what you do for a living. And it's a great way. There's nothing better than recognition from your peers. The only thing that I would say perhaps means more to me is feedback from you, our audience. And that's kind of how I want to finish off the news section here. I'm always keen to hear your feedback on Fire Safety Matters, on this podcast, on our magazine, on our website, on our webinars, etc. Do drop us a line. We're easy to get hold of on LinkedIn, X, via our website. You can use the hashtag FSM podcast as well if you want to publicly make a comment. One of the key things that we've done this year is launch Ignite CPD, and please do go to that, www.ignitecpd.com. That is our online streaming service. It has every webinar we've ever done on there for health and safety and fire safety. There's over 330 on there. And all the recordings from the past Fire Safety Matters Live conferences are on there as well. All available to watch on demand, all fully searchable, all tagged in different categories such as fire detection, passive, evacuation, suppression, etc. And, we add over 150 new every year. So if you haven't got time to go back and see or you don't want to register, lots and lots of times to upcoming webinars, every webinar we ever do in the future is going to be on there. So do go on to ignitecpd.com. Please do subscribe up so you can get access to all our past and future webinars. It is a brilliant resource. It gives you a personalised CPD certificate for every single webinar that you watch, that's stored, that you can download at any time, which is we're able to do that thanks to our partners at IFSM. So please do go on to ignitecpd.com. So that is enough from me. I'm going to throw over to you, Brian. Tell us Who have you got lined up for the second interview on this podcast?
Our final guest on this edition of the podcast is Stephen Marsh, Head of Sales at Cygnus, the developer of wireless fire detection and alarm systems. Stephen joined the company from ADI Global Distribution, where he served in the role of Key Account Manager. During his time in the fire and security business sectors, Stephen has also worked for ADT Fire and Security and Dallmeyer. On this occasion, Stephen focuses on fire safety for heritage premises. Welcome to the podcast, Stephen. Preserving the architectural integrity of heritage buildings is crucial, of course. How does SmartNet ensure minimal disruption during installation and maintenance when compared with traditional wired systems?
Yeah, thanks for having us on again then, Brian. Yeah, obviously heritage buildings and the conservation of them is absolutely critical to their survival. The way that SmartNet works is it works off a true 100% mesh. And there's lots of kind of marketing around mesh technology and mesh networks and things like that. But the SmartNet solution is the only one that has power to the panel, and every other node, so every other device on that system, is then completely wireless. So it means that in terms of protecting that heritage site, it's better than any other solution, because you're only installing what is absolutely necessary to protect the building in the case of a fire. And it does it from two ways, really. So because they're inhabited, it's not only protecting the conservation and protecting the fabric of the building, but also it's the speed of which it can be deployed. So because there may be places of residence or places for public to visit, it minimises the downtime during the installation phase. So it's minimising the time for the occupants and also then for the installer as well. So there's a lot of benefits from using wireless and the SmartNet solution within the heritage buildings.
In terms of compliance, how does SmartNet support building owners and fire safety professionals in meeting both the latest regulations and also conservation requirements?
There's a couple of things to address within that. So SmartNet complies to the same independent testing that wired systems have done for many years. So it's fully EN 54 certified and BS 5839 compliant. So as long as you sort of go all the way back to that compliance of needing that fire risk assessment, then the wireless solution and SmartNet can be deployed to fulfill and assist in delivering what's required from a fire safety strategy and the automatic detection that's needed. The compliance of the actual product is second to none. The other side is then supporting modern regulations, but also innovation in technology to support the back-end compliance and conservation. So it's using our software to assist on not only that initial install, but making sure that you can have seamless maintenance and service schedules, use things like Cygnus Alert, which is a cellular module, so you can get real-time information on the status of the system remotely, and make sure that not only is it compliant when you've signed it off and handed over the commissioning certificate, but you can continually proactively maintain and service that system. And using that innovation then supports heritage sites with their conservation. And obviously that's critical in many applications, but probably even more so to preserve the history and allow education and the enjoyment of the buildings to carry on for generations to come.
Heritage buildings often present unique challenges when it comes to fire safety. Can SmartNet be scaled or customised for different types of heritage buildings?
Yeah, one of the advantages of using mesh and the technology that it uses is that it can be completely scaled. So off a single panel, you can go up to 511 devices. Doesn't matter which way that building goes, the mesh finds its own path. In terms of either difficult scenarios for installation or difficult layouts of buildings, or even thick walls that we've had to deal with, you're able to build the initial mesh. But also if it's an expansion or things change, or areas need to have different levels of cover, then you can easily add on and build up that system up to that 511 per panel. And if it goes larger than that, you can network up to 5 of them together and get systems that are up to 2,500 plus devices. So you can have complete coverage and the flexibility within the system as well.
Could you share a real-world example or case study of where SmartNet has been successfully deployed in a heritage building?
We've got a few really. They're all available on our website as well. But we've got a Grade 2 listed home, which is a country house and a wedding venue, and that was an additional system. So it sat alongside an existing system that they had non-compliant areas on a new FRA, and they put our system in to sit alongside it and integrate to it without damaging any other part of the building or having massive impact to the fabric of the building. And also I touched on earlier the speed of the deployment and the minimal disruption, so they could carry on offering those weddings whilst that installation was happening. There's a quick gap that we were able to come in and deploy that with them. We've also done 18th century mansion that's Grade 1. It's open for sort of tours and weddings events, and that was installed to potentially eliminate destructive cabling for intricate ceilings and plasterwork. And we've got a couple of other examples in rural life living museums and other listed buildings where they've had change of use or change of fire escapes and things. And it just shows that the flexibility in that system to apply itself to different environments and the capability to cope with some of those older brick constructions and thick walls, it just ensures that the buildings have protection going to the next chapter of their history.
What role does innovation play in the broader Cygnus mission, and how does SmartNet reflect the company's commitment to pushing the boundaries of fire safety technology?
Without innovation, Cygnus SmartNet wouldn't exist. That's what we were sort of born out of, is that sight that we saw that there was a gap in the market, there was a better way of doing things, and we had to innovate. The technology didn't exist to deliver the system that we've brought to the market. By bringing that and developing that patent, we've been able to provide innovation, but also that innovation that is got some significant purpose in the benefits that it brings to installers and users in that speed of deployment, allowing them to allocate and manage their resource better, maintain still the high levels of performance and quality to their customers and within the product. And it's moved the wireless fire alarm onto the next level. It is our view anyway. The goal for Cygnus is to keep on innovating and staying at the forefront of the market and of the technological advances within the industry, and to allow it not only for heritage buildings that we're talking about today, but also within schools, government, high rise, and ultimately not just within a wireless space, but providing the same value and innovation into what's the traditional wired market.
And looking ahead, how do you see wireless fire safety technology evolving, and what role is Cygnus looking to play in shaping the future of fire protection for heritage and other complex sites?
We've sort of touched on that on some of the questions there, but bringing it to a point, wireless should be the preferred solution into heritage. It ensures that minimal impact and disruption to the building, and it supports the conservation of them. We're going to continuously evolve the product, and we're going to continue to enhance its capability and support compliance, so with back-end software and other feature sets coming out to installers and end users. And the goal is to take what we have, which is the only truly mesh network fire alarm solution, and keep on innovating and use the wireless market to help address an engineering resource gap through that speed of deployment and the flexibility of managing that engineering resource, whilst still maintaining and offering the same reliability and adaptability and performance that people have kind of come accustomed to through traditional wired systems or other hybrid solutions. So Cygnus, we ultimately want to continue to offer that best solution and be the forefront of any adoption and innovation in the future.
That brings us to the end of episode 47 of the Fire Safety Matters podcast. Many thanks indeed to our special guests on this edition, namely Richard Heaton and Mike Lythgoe from the Protec Fire and Security Group, and also Stephen Marsh of Cygnus. You can read more on the issues raised in this edition of the podcast and others by visiting the Fire Safety Matters website. The web address you need to access is www.fsmatters.com. We do hope you've enjoyed the content delivered in this podcast and found it informative. Please do contact us if there are any particular themes or issues you would like us to explore on upcoming editions. You can do so on X, formerly Twitter of course, by using the hashtag FSMPodcast. On that note, do make sure you follow us on X at FSMatters_MAG and also access our LinkedIn page at Fire Safety Matters. Please do like and share the content of our regular podcasts and spread the word among your industry colleagues. You can listen to the Fire Safety Matters podcast for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube or Podbean. All you need to do is enter the term Fire Safety Matters into your chosen platform search box. We'll see you next time.